Welcome back, everybody. Good evening and happy Thanksgiving to you. My name is BRAVEN. Welcome to my podcast. This is round 2 of the day. I had a podcast today earlier with Claire Trumbull, young entrepreneur. My family and I are down here at Okaloosa Island, Florida for a vacation. Ranyar was doing a little co-production with me, and we said, why don't we knock out part 2 of our podcast right now? How you doing, dude?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to get this one up in gear, and so let's get into it.
Hell yeah. We're coming to you live from the beach. You can't really tell. It's windy out here. It's dark, but you should be able to hear the ocean. So back when I had you on the program initially, we had talked about kind of getting our ideas off the ground. Can you give me a bit of a status update, and you can talk about my end of things, both of our things, and what you're doing with Macho Randy and going forward. Give us a quick update, will you?
I think 2022 has been a big year when it comes to progression, when it comes to quantity of output in terms of media in general. Like your podcasts, I've been helping you out a lot this year. I think this is a year for you in which your primary, I'd say, accomplishment, even though it's not all at once, is you're getting used to putting out a lot of content on the regular, which you already know, and you've already said that is what you need to do to be successful in your bracket.
Which is different from, it's kind of a leap of progress from other,
There's some years where I think people say, well, last year was better than this year, or I think this year was better than last year. But I think it's inevitable that you're going to take something from every single year. And I think with, especially like my projects, I thought that I was going to get a lot more stuff off the ground with Macho Randy this year. It ended up being internalized a lot. I changed some ideas. I scripted more movie ideas, and 2023 though, January from the jump, I look forward to putting out content, or not even content, ideas and projects and videos under that umbrella. So
did you enjoy the dinner? Was that delicious?
Yeah, I ate a lot. I ate a lot of fucking food.
Bechamel sauce, a little mac and cheese.
I was like, if you know the 80-20 thing, that was after you were in at LZHS, but they did the 80-20 shit. That's like the 80-20, man. I just threw in a few spices and made sure you didn't.
Ranyar goes, well, we didn't end up having paprika, but we needed something to make it a little more like yellow mac and cheesy color-wise. Pulls out the cayenne pepper. I lost my shit, dude. I was like, I can't go another day without the creative genius that is Ranyar Roark. You are a young filmmaker. You are somewhat of a young entrepreneur. You've got a business now. You've got a brand. What have you learned from 2022? It's been a huge year for us. We've grown a lot. What are the takeaways?
I think action above anything else is what I've taken away. I do plan a lot. That's one thing that me and Jared, who's our middle brother, we have in common, is we just plan. And not that we don't act, but it's usually always thought out fivefold. But I think just if you already know where you want to go, a lot of times I find you already know the answer of what you have to do. And a lot of times you find there's not that many steps to do it. You just got to take the big steps. And I think the pure action of, even when you are second guessing yourself, not even pay any attention to that in any way. It's the pure action of just doing that. Then after you take the action, you can go and revise and say, okay, how can I make this more efficient? But if you're not doing the actions, you're not going to get further. And it sounds like, well, yeah, no shit, of course, but it's easier said than done, because I think there's a lot of people, not me, but a lot of people think they want something and they don't actually really want it, and they realize they don't want it when they're not putting forward.
Let's put it this way. Someone might come to you and say they want something, but do they want it more than what they're gonna do instead and procrastinate with, and then it would come down to, you feel a certain amount of regret after you're just like, oh, I said I was gonna do this. You get your dopamine off by like just saying, I'm gonna execute, but that's just all. It's all part of building up that, and then when you don't execute, it feels even worse. So it felt good this year to actually get the ball rolling. When I got here, like I told Ranyar that we were gonna make a tape. I wanted to do a music tape, kind of like a spontaneous one, and I've had him film some documentary stuff. We're gonna do a mini doc from our trip this week because we've been working all week. Do you want to do like? I made this song and I'm about to record later tonight. We wanted to do like a one take video, but I don't know how it's gonna work because like we're gonna have to direct it out, and like I don't want to do 100 takes, because that would take all day.
I think we could start up here, and as you said, end in the ocean. We could just do one big fucking take and have everybody nail their role the first time, which is, again, easier said than done.
Yeah.
By the way, I fucking hate this shit. Now, I'll drink it because I actually do respect it because a lot of people like it, so certainly it's a drink that should be.
Did you see that? I was talking about this earlier this week, that Trevor Wallace, I don't know if it was Trevor Wallace, but this guy did a TikTok where he was like rubbing lemon on the outside of a glass, like LaCroix scientists trying to make lemon LaCroix.
Yeah,
it literally is. It has just a hint.
It's just not.
It is a hint of lemon.
Here's the thing. It's like, I don't like alcohol, so I'd like to think that if a drink tastes bad, it's a type of alcohol and I'm getting drunk. But this doesn't get you drunk. This just tastes bad, period. Now, I'll drink it because I do like the bubbles, because I'm a big pussy. But yeah. I don't know. I think we got off track here for a second. Do you want to jump into the general sort of list of topics that I...
Yeah, go ahead. What do you got on there?
Well, here's what I got. So, I know Braven's the host here. However, Braven's had a lot on his plate today, and I figured I'd come up with some topics, as I was the one who really pushed for this podcast just to be done tonight. So, upcoming... I stopped saying the word content, but upcoming material projects. You go real quick, then I'll go.
Okay. So, Fall in Love by Sunday was a semi-abandoned project. I want to create a full album for when it'll be properly absorbed. I think the best kind of protocol for newer artists is, and especially people that aren't popping at all like me, just to like release a single. I've been putting out like a single, I'll promote it with a music video, and I have like a separate artwork for it, and that's like all I'll drop. So that's what I've been doing recently. And then Fall in Love by Sunday was like a planned like magnum opus that I wanted to work on. Realized my art wasn't even close, and then just kind of had a bunch of music and scrapped it. But then
like a fallout.
Yeah, and it just basically like I made the decision that I was gonna do singles, and I'm not abandoning the idea of projects, as I'm currently making a tape. It's gonna be kind of like a EP, maybe 5 or 6 songs. But I think like the point, like I put out Right Time, it was 11 songs, never got fully absorbed. There are some of my friends who, they've listened to it through and through. There's people that have hit me up saying that they've listened to an odd and end song on there and they love it. Yeah. But that's not very common. And the singles just kind of hit time after time. You can give all the attention to that single. It just comes off as a lot more finished. With the Cherry video we put together, and then this new video I got coming out that Isaac's directing, we just been like able to put like all of our focus on one thing at a time. For like an artist that's signed to a label, if you're going for a certain number of streams, if you're, trying to pull those numbers for a label, I get it. Even if you're an individual trying to pull stream numbers. But I think for growing a brand, singles and EPs, and so that's what I'm on.
You're just on a quantity. I think your quality is me and you can.
Well, no, it's about the quality. I'm saying like I made a big decision to not go for quantity, because there was a time where I could make, I made 847 sent me in a week.
Yeah.
During COVID, like right before Right Time, I said I'm gonna drop sent me, I'm going to drop these 7 songs, and then the next week I'm going to drop Right Time. I had like 20 freaking songs. But it wasn't fully realized at all.
I think you're getting to the point where the quality and the quantity is coming together, and it's not that you have to make a bunch and they're not good.
Yeah.
I think the more you make, period, the quality will just be better, period.
Yeah.
And the quality will the quantity will naturally go up as you keep making.
What is Macho Randy?
So Macho Randy is so the original idea was in 2019 under my name, that was kind of sort of turned into a nickname, sort of, not by many people, but it's a character. And so it's like, if Bugs Bunny is under Warner Brothers, I think he is. It's like Warner Brothers, Bugs Bunny, Walt Disney's Mickey Mouse. Think of like,
kind of like a theme.
It's a theme, but it's a character that certainly represents something that's bigger than just the movie that he holds the title to. So I think what I'd like to do is a character that can be reinvented through multiple identities, and I think that's something that I'd like to do. And I've been so that actually leads me into your thing is Fall in Love by Sunday. Mine is more building a character, and then from the excitement of that character, through the understanding that I want people to get from the character, roll out a set of movies in which the character can be reinvented and can exist in different
and be dynamic
realms. Yeah, it's such and from the look to the personality to the decisions that the character makes to why the character makes certain decisions to the I'll stop because I was just about to spoil something, but I won't. But
would you play Macho Randy? Or
I don't know. That's the thing.
Is that turning off?
It's not, but
you can turn your
I just want to make sure I have
display settings.
I want to make sure I have the topics straight. No, it just depends. I think I'd like to have a role in all of the movies.
If an acting role.
But I don't know.
Oh, it'd be cool if you were like little side characters.
Here's what I think. I think if I could get the chops to play the original one, that's all I need to do.
But I don't think here's an idea. Maybe you would want it to be anybody but you.
No, I think
is that not the idea?
The first one, I think I could play.
What about the last one?
No. I think the first one would be good, and then that's my stamp.
Okay.
Because if it's my character, I'll play the fucking first one, and then everybody else can shoot for number 2, number 3. And then I can't say any more than that because I'd be spoiling. But that's my project. So, guys, I'd like to think that this is an amateur hour, but I'm doing my best here to pull up the topics. But that's my project. The second one I had is not even related to art. It's just I wanted to point out that, pat myself on the back here, every single day since I've been at the beach, I've taken advantage of running on the beach, and I think that's been incredibly wise. I'm not sure why.
Well, you've had a whole routine. Walk me through your little daily. And I joined you the first day. I'll probably join you tomorrow. I've been slacking.
Well, this isn't. This is just for working out. So it's you go out, maybe stretch out a little. Not really. Run the beach, either towards the pier, which is that way, or towards the Matador, which is the way that these cameras are facing.
Yeah.
Then dunk yourself in the ocean, fully submerge, go back up, get in a hot tub, get all warm, splash yourself into the freezing cold pool, which...
Yeah, the pool down there is not heated
Let me tell you something. It's closer to 32 degrees than it is to 70 degrees. And then get right back in the hot tub and then come up and get back to it.
What do you think about hot-cold therapy? What are your thoughts on cold showers, saunas? Give me the rundown, because I'm sick and tired of people giving their opinion. I want to seal the deal once and for all. What the hell are they talking about?
Here's the thing. I think even if you don't know what it's good for, you should do it anyways. Yeah. And then you can figure out later what it's good for. But I think the adaptation from going from super cold to hot back to cold is good for. It's certainly good for muscle recovery. I do know that, and it's also good for if you need help adapting to stressful situations or handling stressful situations or things that are tough. I think when you submerge yourself in really cold water,
close as hell to that shit.
I think when you submerge yourself in really cold water, that's all you can think about when it's really cold. You're not thinking about your little problems, and it's kind of like doing something that's really hard, putting yourself through strenuous work. It's like the little things that you thought were difficult aren't actually that difficult, if that makes sense.
Yeah, beyond like the physical stuff, I just put a cap on it here. I've been really into the resilience training. I find that just like the regular stuff day to day is just easier. Like there's always that like barrier of getting into the cold, or it's easier to get into the hot. I think it's warm-blooded animals. I think it's just easier to submerge yourself into a hot environment, but I want to start ice baths and all that stuff because I've been getting into cold showers and like I've seen nothing but sleep improvement, mental clarity, and this is along with other stuff too. So I don't really have a control group measuring stick, but
I have it sounds cliche, but I think it's good to include yourself into something that makes you feel alive. Some people skydive. I think cold showers is a good start. Everyone can do a cold shower. You know what I mean? I don't know anyone who can't do a cold shower. Yeah. So I think it's just good to make yourself feel uncomfortable and by default make yourself feel alive.
Living in Chicago, it's really cold up there right now. I noticed that in the summer, like I'd go for a jog, I'd cool off, and then getting into that shower was not hard at all. And then as it's gotten colder, like it's gotten freakier and freakier to think about that shower, and it just makes it like more of a challenge. So like I'm trying to get through the winter and like still do the resilience training.
You want to see if this is good? Yeah. You want to bring up Brockhampton being over, followed by anything new Kanye, 30 seconds, followed by Twitter under Elon Musk. Brockhampton, Kanye, Twitter.
One of my favorite bands of all time, a hip-hop group, just came to an end, and they just broke up. This is Brockhampton, self-proclaimed boy band. This was my favorite group coming up through college. Their music was just so crazy. It was so crazy to see the Saturation series and then following along the documentary. I just thought, it felt like I was just along for the ride with them. They just put out their final project. Kevin Abstract, ringleader of Brockhampton, put out a solo album, and then they put out the TM, which stands for The Mountain, and that's a group project, and apparently this is it. It's getting mixed reviews. The music side of things I really enjoy. I really enjoy The Family, and I really, really enjoy TM. I think it's fabulous. They're fabulous projects, both of them. Those are talented guys. However, I don't have the emotional investment that I used to. It's just kind of weird to appreciate music like even more. Like I appreciate their music on a technical level almost as much as I ever have. But I have no emotional investment in the group because I feel like I'm past it,
I think the albums only sound good because they're talented, but anything past the fact that they're talented, I can't say that they give me the feel that the Saturation albums did. They don't give me the feel that Ginger did, and that's just because again, it's good because they're talented, but the chemistry that you got on the Saturation albums, to me, is the best chemistry of any hip-hop group ever. I know Odd Future set the table for something like Brockhampton to even happen, but man, Brockhampton was, still are. It's not that they're incapable of doing it, but the way they bounced off each other on songs like Gummy, on the way Matt Champion and Amir Van bounced off on Chick, from just the looking back on it, the simple heaters that you got on Saturation 1 to the way they kept the energy on Saturation 3, putting out almost 50 songs in 1 year and having your third album being as good as your first.
Yeah.
Look, it doesn't sound hard. I don't even make music, and I can promise you that it's very difficult to make the third thing that year sound just as good as the first, if not better. So it's just, but, do you think it's good that they're done? What do you...
I don't know if I feel a certain way about the fact that it's done, but if it needed to end, I'm sure glad it's over.
Because this album, although it's really good in terms of the musical qualities, would you agree with me that it just doesn't have the same feels like
they harnessed a certain thing when they were in that house. Those kids all decided to move out to Hollywood. That was a certain energy. It'd be like me and you if we moved to California right now and dropped everything and just creatively went after it. There's a certain energy in the moment that you get from that certainly nobody else will ever be able to repeat ever. You can mimic it or whatever and make great music and even better music, but that sort of camaraderie, like what you saw in the documentary and the Vice footage and all that stuff, was just unmatched. I look back at it as almost like Frank Ocean Blonde. It's just iconic. It can't be fucked with in any way. Artistic.
It's almost ridiculous. I know they put out All American Trash, but it's almost ridiculous that 2017 was closer to the start of Brockhampton than it is right now in terms of the end of Brockhampton. And it's just crazy to me that for 1 year they came together and just gelled like no other. And I think you're right. I just think that should be kept in a time capsule, just the Saturation stuff. But I'd be bullshitting if I didn't tell you that I think Iridescence, Ginger, and I think Roadrunner, they're all almost as good as what you got there. It's just sad to me that they couldn't go further, but at the end of the day, I don't think they wanted to.
Right. So I'm saying it is, I should say, unfortunate. It's just like, maybe not the movie, the fairy tale ending that everyone would have.
Yeah, there you go.
And like even through Iridescence, like I remember going into Iridescence thinking like, like Amir Van's out, it's just not going to hit the same. That shit slapped so hard.
It was so good. Honey, dude.
That shit was so
District.
good. Wait.
Wait.
Like some of those songs.
Even Fabric, dude.
Like they got into Abbey Road studio for a week. Kind of the same idea. They built it the same way as Saturation 1.
That album came out so good. I knew that we knew that album was good right when it hit. And I think Ginger is another really not slept on because Sugar, right, is their most famous song. But I mean, Ginger is such a good album too. There's nothing like riding on your bike in the fall listening to something like Ginger, and then
who do you think will have, besides Kevin, because he kind of is already established solo, but who do you think will have the best solo career?
I would have said Matt Champion. I don't want to shit on any of them. I would have said Matt Champion a while ago because I think Matt Champion's look and sound can go actually the furthest out of all of them. But I think Joba, because I think, like you say, Joba is in terms of musicianship, he's, I think, the honcho of Brockhampton.
Well, let's put it this way. So, he was the one that engineered and mixed the Saturations. And I know he was their chief engineer, Romil, Kiko, Jabari, all making beats. You have Kiko and Jabari in Q3. That duo, and then you also had Bareface production, you had Kevin Abstract production, you had production from virtually everybody. Don McLennan makes beats, but like Joba is the guy that can get in the studio and make that shit sound like it's Drake. You know what I mean?
Joba, I know for a fact he mixed Saturation too. I think he mixed the entirety of it, but he's that's why I think Joba, I don't want to say deserve, but I think if anybody is a lock in terms of they're gonna have success in music, it's Joba, because he's just that good.
Brockhampton met on an internet forum called Kanye to the Kevin the Abstract had posted a post back in like 2011. Anyone want to be in a band? Or anyone want to make a band?
It's crazy, man. That's not where you meet people who are going to be the greatest boy band of all time.
The way I had kind of seen it was like, the way I heard about it was he had tons of people respond, and he worked with tons of people, and he kind of whittled it down. I bring that up because Kanye West has been in the news.
Oh yeah. Oh.
And he's always in the news. He's always viral. It's impossible for him to stay out of the news. We all can agree he is very hungry for fame. He loves the spotlight. I don't think anyone's going to disagree with me on that. And then your opinion about who he is as a person, what he's saying. How crazy is he? And then how is that relevant to how does it affect people? What do you think about all this?
Okay,
nonsense?
Kanye. Not Kanye, is, I said it on the last podcast, to me, he's the greatest hip-hop artist ever. And for good reason. But lately I've been separating that to the influx of sort of news coverage I've seen of him. I think a lot of this is him wanting to put his words out there, gearing up for the 24 election. He just met with Trump at Mar-a-Lago today. We don't need to get into the specifics of that, but I think Kanye has always been good about staying on the ball when it comes to who is talking about Kanye.
Regardless of his
what you
views,
think.
regardless of
And here's the thing.
how it affects people.
It's weird though, right? Because he can say a lot of stuff that's bad and that I don't really agree with, but for all the bad stuff he says, man, he says a lot of stuff that makes sense.
Or a lot of stuff that is you look at it and you're like, that's not true. And then 5 years later, you look back and you're like, oh, Kanye was 100% right and everybody else was wrong. So that's where I give him the benefit of the doubt. And I know some of the shit he says is just unbelievable. It's like, even if it is sensational, why the hell would you say that? But I say give it time, and then whatever dissipates, and most of the bullshit will dissipate, I think we're going to come back to the situation and say, well, we didn't look at it that way at first, but we realized he was at least, making some sort of point that mattered.
Kanye talks so much flies out of his mouth that it's almost historically with other people who talk a lot and are also super famous. All of that, a lot of that goes to the wayside, and the things that weigh more, like their music catalog, their tours, their fashion choices, photos, whatever it is, that stuff will prevail, and the stuff that weighs more will always, no matter what, in the public's eye, be held over whatever he or any really super famous person said. You know where I'm going with this. I just think his discography, if he stopped here, it would be enough to eclipse anything he's ever said on Twitter. But
let's separate the art from Let's separate from the art from what he's actually saying and the implications. But I agree. It's like you don't discount what he's created. And I think this goes back to, I'm going to catch a lot of shit for this, but everybody's flawed. Everybody is, if you're a religious person, you say everybody's a sinner maybe. People are going to make mistakes, and Kanye West is a very flawed human being.
Yeah.
He's also extremely intelligent. He's extremely gifted. People are going to need to give him the benefit of the doubt, because I don't think he's going away.
And Kanye, and he was right about, not to name names, but he was correct about what he was talking about in terms of, look, I have not killed anybody. There's people who look and sound and act like they're better than me in terms of they love more than me, they're more compassionate than me, but these people have actually pulled a trigger or have had someone pull a trigger and kill someone. I've never done that. Everything you see is everything you get from me.
Yeah.
So I'm not the bad guy. I'm not the bad guy that you think I am.
This is going to be a little based, but I would say, when people get, people will say, oh, well, your words have certain effects. Do they really?
No.
Do they really?
They really don't.
Let's put it this way. even if he's influencing a bunch of people, that's the, and it's easy to, kind of shift the blame away from Kanye when there's no violence coming from him directly. But those people are going to find that negative energy somewhere else. Yeah. That kid who's going to, go shoot up a school, God forbid, it's just like, you can't put all the blame on Kanye, saying Kanye's at fault for people questioning the Holocaust. All this stuff. It's just like, well, first of all, if you guys weren't talking about Kanye, there are other people saying crazy ass shit, and there are other fingers you can point. Kanye has been a scapegoat since the 2009 Grammy. Just like the Grammy.
Would you say it's asinine to blame Kanye for?
Directly, yeah.
It's asinine. Yeah. It's just stupid would be a better word, because I think everybody can understand stupidity. It's stupid to even suggest that he, or even someone like Alex Jones, is someone that you should be blaming for people who hate. Trust me, they're doing it because they hate themselves, right? And it's way more of that than it is, Alex Jones said it, right? So I think that's something that I think a lot of people need to understand.
And there are, you can certainly shift the masses with your words. If you have that sort of influence, you can negatively influence someone. I'm not discounting that. But what I am saying is that people, no matter how crazy you are and no matter how offensive you are, you should be able to tweet it. If there's criminal activity, if you're breaking the law, and if you're truly being threatening, racist, etc., we can draw a line. Yeah, we can draw a line. But as far as keeping Alex Jones off Twitter, you're banning. It's very biased. I don't think non-conservatives have been censored in any way.
Which I think this is a great segue. Twitter. The same way I didn't catch the Kanye one, you didn't catch the Twitter one I said. So Elon Musk bought Twitter. I don't know the specifics of the sale. I'm not sure how I don't even know how you buy a social media platform. What do you walk in there and say, I want to buy Twitter? I don't know how he did it, but he did it. And lately he's been tweeting, and naturally so his tweets have been getting a lot of engagement. And one of the things that he said was, I'm paraphrasing, but on Twitter, you get freedom of speech, but not freedom of reach. And this has to do...
I saw that too.
This has to do with kind of what we're talking about in terms of separating people who give you an idea and say something and feel a certain way, and maybe even want you to feel a certain way, and the people who are actually committing felonies. So if you tweet something that's hateful, right, he said... it will be deboosted, it'll be demonetized. And I thought it couldn't get any better than that. I thought he couldn't say anything better than that. And then he followed it up with something better. He goes, this will apply to the tweet itself, not to the account. So just because Kanye, we're using him as an example. Or the person,
the tweet, the words, not the person.
Right, we're using Kanye as an example. Kanye, by the way, Kanye is a great example for almost everything. So let's use him again. Kanye tweets something that's incredibly ignorant and stupid, which has happened before, in my opinion. Just that tweet, Elon is saying, should be deboosted, not Kanye's whole page.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be with every social media platform.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it doesn't represent his whole output on the platform.
I saw him tweet, and it goes along with the thing about, and this is the one problem I do have with how Musk is handling things. He did a poll that received 1 million votes an hour on whether to reinstate President Trump's account, and the vote was very close. It ended up being 52-48 in favor of reinstating the account, which it has been. However, there's one thing he did comment after the poll was finished, after the poll had closed. He said, and check my French, but he said, "Vos populi, vos te," which is the word of the people is the word of God. And I think that's Latin, actually. So what that would be implying is that the people, that vote made the decision. Now, I am certain with most without a shadow of a doubt that the account, regardless of the vote, would have been reinstated. Yeah. So Vos Populi Vos Dei is not. If that's true, then Vos Populi Vos Dei is not what we're looking at, right?
Yeah.
It's not.
It's a false
not
stamp.
what we're looking at. It's maybe what he wanted people to think about it as. But I had heard that the account was going to be reinstated anyway, along with all of these accounts.
That's right. It would have. And here's proof that I can't show you, but you can look this up. Andrew Tate. His account
shit for this one, buddy.
His account was banned years before he ever got any international fame. They went out of their way to unban his Twitter account from 2017. So that is, and you can look this up to back up what I'm saying, but that ultimately is proof that they're going out of their way to unban people.
I find it interesting that Kanye West, Alex Jones, Jordan Peterson, all these guys are in the news, and I wonder the hell why, I wonder why.
Me too. Yeah. I think you and me both know.
Kanye tweets a few days ago, testing, checking to see if my Twitter is unblocked, and the next thing you know, almost the same day, you hear the anti-Semitic statements, you hear the bullshit, and then of course the millions of people who look at it out of context because the Wall Street Journal wrote an article about it.
Yeah, but all those articles that are timed by all these big papers, keyword timed, they're fucking timed. All these articles, I swear, articles that you will see a year from now have already been written. They're just waiting for the time to drop the bomb that is the article. They already have it in their head. They already know how they want to make a certain person or group look. They already know how they want to do it.
Keep talking.
This is what I understand. Yeah, do me a favor and just check that. I actually finished my point.
Yeah, you're good.
Is that Fuji running?
It's wet. We might have to pull it in. Sorry about the technical difficulties, guys. It's raining. It's a mist, and we're having to cut this podcast to keep the equipment dry.
Sometimes I like to take a gag like LaCroix or so whatever, and I like to a motif. I know a motif, which is a reoccurring theme for all you English buffs out there. I know Braven is. It's a motif. The LaCroix being not my favorite drink is the motif that I like to put in this podcast. As you can see, I keep doing this.
Yeah.
But you want to finish with some rapid fire? Or?
How's that work?
Well, why don't I ask you? You answer.
Okay. Well, so welcome back. Ranyar Roark, part 2. I've linked Ranyar's socials in the description. I'll put it right here, right now. Bing. And then you can go follow him that way. Check out his YouTube channel. And then we're going to do a rapid fire here. He's got some ones for me. Usually I'm the one asking the questions.
It's different. Let's just say this. My phone's storage is not doing too well. It's doing better, but I need to kind of run the outline on mine. So why don't we start with this before that blows off the fucking balcony. So 5 minutes here. Who's your favorite artist right now?
BRAVEN Kim.
Okay.
Check out BRAVEN Kim. It's these two brothers from Boston. They're about my age. They're making some killer shit. Go ahead.
Mine is Fat Money. I can't shut up about Fat Money.
From Chicago, right?
Fat Money's from Chicago. Yeah. Let me tell you how I found Fat Money.
Yeah.
So I was walking, whether it was to the post office or home from work, I was walking in Lincoln Park back to my apartment, and I saw a stencil stamp on the sidewalk, and it was "Stream Money Got Wings" by Fat Money. And I said, oh. I took a photo just because I thought the ad was cool.
Yeah.
I actually came back and decided to put it in on Spotify, and I was very impressed with what I heard. Come to find out, Pusha T knows who he is. I believe he co-wrote some of Donda 2. Don't know the specifics of that, but songs like 400 Degrees, Bag from Hell, Aw Man, these are some really good cuts.
I'll hit him up.
He's
I'm
small.
I'm gonna send him a DM and see if he wants a beat.
He didn't reply to me. I hope if he replies to you, I might feel.
I'm gonna send him my shit. Yeah. Go ahead.
So, number 2 is what is your 2023 artistic game plan in a few sentences?
Put out as much music as possible and as much content as possible. I'm going to start posting daily TikToks, and that'll just be something that, regardless of how trash it is, I'm just going to make a reel and make a TikTok every day. Try to grow and force the growth, and then I'm going to continue to do a song a month, a video a month, get your help from that, and then, like, we just got to keep pushing. I hit 400 followers, and I was like, damn, that feels good as fuck, and I know that's nothing, but I was like, because the momentum has been more accelerated than ever, only because we're grinding like crazy out here. So, what about you? Give me your summary.
So towards the end of this year, I'm going to be helping you, and I'm going to start gearing the traffic towards Ranyar Roark, Macho Randy under Ranyar Roark in 2023 Q1, and then I'm going to get the buzz of the first feature, which is going to be called Macho Randy's World Tour. It's the OG. It's the main attraction, and I'm going to have some things up my sleeve that I look forward to bringing out for that.
So cool.
So let's move on. When do you foresee your first major project?
Like the first one to get traction? I think it could be soon. I think going along with, like, forcing the gaining of following. I've seen some crazy ass shit blow up on the internet. Not even for being crazy ass, viral ass, good shit. Like, it's just been like people will watch a dude sit on the toilet and fart every day.
It's wild.
And he'll have 1 million followers. So consistency is going to be the main thing. And then I can tell you with certainty that it will be 2023 if the progress, if we can keep this progress up, for sure. Without a doubt in my mind.
I think you're going to hit your stride just a little bit earlier. I think yours is going to be like late 2023. I'll mirror this one. I think mine's going to be 2025. I'd like to shoot for the end.
Why is that?
Well, I certainly want to do a feature every year towards the back end of the 2020s. I'd like to do a 2025, a 2026, a 2027. I already have a day in mind. I've had a day in mind for a while.
And then as far as growth, just the same thing.
Right. And the reason why 2025 it seems like a world away is because to be able to turn around features that fast, you need to already have it basically fucking done, except for the editing. If you want to turn it around in 1 year, you basically need to have a load of it done. So a load of the first features are going to be the road work for those. I look to have done 2023, 2024, and lately over the past year, I've been doing, besides helping BRAVEN, I've been helping myself by keeping it's not a word, so I'll just say this. I've been internalizing what I want to put out instead of actually putting it out right now, because I don't, with this brand, it's like Mickey Mouse, right? I don't want to put out the wrong idea.
Yeah. Oh, fire. Yeah.
Yep.
And like, going off that, I don't think it's horrible to put out the wrong idea, even if you know it's the wrong idea, if it's a TikTok. But if you're dropping an album, if you're dropping a feature film, I get that. And I was internalizing everything until a few months ago. And then I was just like, well, we just got to make shit and then figure shit out later. Like this podcast. I have 3 angles going for this podcast. I have 2 audios. I know it's going to get recorded. I'm going to figure out how to make it look good afterwards. And the same one with Claire. So, by the way, I'll get the Claire pod out early next week, and then the Ranyar pod will come out a couple days later. Fire.
So, 3 more. Where would you want to live when your apartment lease is up, and why?
Okay. So granted that I would be prepared to go, I would want to move to. I think I'm set on either Texas or Colorado, and I have specific places that I would go. I'd probably want to live in Dallas or Austin if I were to go to Texas, and then Colorado. Somewhere in the fucking mountains. That'd be sick as hell. I think Chicago's great. It's the perfect city to be young. It's a perfect city to grow. But there are a lot of inhibitions. There's a lot of things that you can't do financially, that you can't do network-wise, just because the scene in Chicago is finance. The music scene out there is tough. Everybody that I've met in Chicago says, man, I'm having a blast, but I don't think I'm as effective as if I were in somewhere else. So that's what I'm thinking, and I think by the time my lease is up, I'll want to make that move absolutely for sure. What about you?
I think I've told you this. I'm not sure. I'd like to sample.
Yeah, you did say that.
Yeah. It's funny. It might be full circle because I remember having like dreams of doing this when I was in high school, like traveling around before I wanted to make features, and I got more, not realistic because that's not what dreamers do, but before I understood really, really what I wanted to do more than what I thought I wanted to do. And what I thought I wanted to do was travel around the world and make videos from multiple locations. But what I'd like to do is maybe do, and I know leases are more when they're shorter, but I'd like to do New York City for about 6 months. I'd like to do Miami for 6 months. I'd like to do LA for 6 months. I'd like to do maybe like Reno or somewhere out west, maybe in the mountains.
And then after you're done with that, where do you want to settle?
So...
Or not settle, but like, where would you spend more than 6 months?
Settle at 25.
Yeah.
No. Chicago is a great place. But here's the thing. I don't want to ever lose the Chicagoland roots.
You won't.
And yeah, I don't think I will. I'm glad you think that as well. But I think Florida, to me, Florida is my favorite state. I don't even live here full time, but I think Florida, I think the Panhandle area is great.
No, this is sick. It's the boonies, but we're having a great time.
Floral, as Isaac would say. So why don't we close out with these two?
Go ahead.
Actually, this is the last one. How do you think you'll be remembered?
I want to be remembered as a true artist. And that's what I'm trying to be every day. And right now I don't know what that means because I'm still figuring it out. Regardless of how popular my work becomes, and I mean, I'm going to try to spread this shit as far as possible. I want to be Kanye West in 20 years, minus all the bullshit. I want to be at the very top. And then, doing music is only one step, and then talented people can do other things and start other businesses. But I want to be remembered as someone who didn't sacrifice anything for the creation. And when you did have to sacrifice something, it wasn't purely for the art. It was to survive. But I'll say this. Because I don't want to sound fake and I don't want to sound sappy. I have no fucking idea, and I don't know how people are gonna think of me, and I don't know how I'll be remembered, and I don't really know how I want to be remembered. But right now I'm gonna make the coolest shit possible, and the shit I'm just gonna try to put art out there that people give the time of day to. If you can move people through the art, if you can show people your mind and the artistic force that everybody has in their hearts, if you're a true artist, if you can put your shit out there, like, people are going to fuck with it. And I think as much as I don't know where I'm going to be in 5-10 years or what my image is going to look like, all I can say is that I'm going to just make the coolest shit possible, and I'm not going to stop.
That's good. That's good. I just want that ring light to not be in jeopardy for the last minute here. That's a really good answer. I'm trying to, here's what I'll do. Instead of trying to match that, I'll say I'll keep mine short. As an artist who said he was going to do something and then did it, and the reason for him doing said thing will be found out years from now and discussed years from now.
Okay.
So
like Van Gogh.
Yeah,
Van Gogh, everybody, maybe not everybody, but he was famous only after he died. Unknown until he died.
I want some big movies and some big pieces. Because I it's not just movies. Like I on my website I say like video producer now, movie director next, artist forever.
Without a period after forever. Artist forever with no period. I saw that. That's fire.
You see, that's how we pick up on that. It's people, artists pick up on artists. I thought that shit was so cool. Artists pick up on artists, and that's an example of an artist picking up. He understood the value in artist forever. And I certainly want some. And I was gonna say I want to move into other forms of art, and I'm already doing it a little bit.
It's gotta be natural.
Yeah.
We gotta create the best shit. My job won't be done until I've created the 10 best albums I can make. You know.
And there you go.
10 internationally recognized albums, undeniable albums. You know what I mean? Because I could. It just sounds like vanity, but unless you give a shit about growing as an artist and putting it in terms of streams and putting it in terms of popularity and putting it in terms of Instagram followers, you could say at surface level, but how else are you going to measure it, you know?
Yeah, that's right.
Other than personal happiness.
It's a very good way of looking at it. I would think for me, I'd like to put out a few more popular pieces that the value of it and the story of it and sort of the spectacle that it is can be discussed right there and then, but I also want some more pieces that hang in the background that are more for like hardcore fans that they can discuss among each other for way longer.
In some Reddit forum.
So like the magnum opus would be great, but that's something that like everybody knows like the story and like why the character did this and how impactful it was, but I want there to be like 10x the amount of
Easter eggs in there.
Of little pieces that it's like if you can go 100 years from now and it's like that's why he put that thing in there, or that subject
or if it like hits
there.
for like 1% of people, and then or one person figures it out, and then they're just like, oh my god, look at what he did, and it takes so long, because
that'd be cool.
If you do gain a massive following, like there's gonna be so many people looking at you that everything's gonna be caught except for the shit that you hid the best.
I think,
or the stuff that you didn't intend people to see until society has evolved to a certain point. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. I think we would end on that. However, I think like the great Hunter S. Thompson, who is a gonzo journalism, and if you're that term gonzo, what is gonzo? Well, Hunter S. Thompson not only embodied it, you can really say that he made it up, because he was a true prophet, and it's stuff like it's like if he says something and you kind of like, all right, 40 years go by and it's like, oh, he was right when he said it. That makes him a prophet. And I think being a prophet is the closest thing to being God, if that makes sense. And not that I'm God or that anyone else should be held to God.
But it's the same thing as striving for perfection or making the best art.
You should be... I think it's cliche, but it's the pursuit of coming to as close as God in terms of what you're giving to people as possible.
That's fire. I mean, people will say that's, if the masses were to hear this today, they'd be like, you're not God.
You're not God. You're a 1-year-old child. Yeah,
so
you owe me a LaCroix. Anyway,
I'll get you something else. But yeah, so. Thank you so much, man. Part 2 is fire. We're going to do the thumbnail right here.
Fuck, are we?
Yeah, we'll do it right here.
Ranyar
Roark. Thank you so much. We're going to have you back on soon because it's always fun. We're going to keep the music rolling. We're going to keep the documentary rolling. And fire. Thanks, guys.
Cool.